This Ag Business Update brought to you by American Implement, indebted to the past, committed to the future. In a moment, the chair of U.S. Farmers and Ranchers in action.
Would you like to see something done about high gas prices and low unemployment? Western Place Energy in Campus, Kansas is doing something about it. They're a proud part of Growth Energy, America's ethanol supporters, and they employ 38 people and will be adding more following the expansion. Ethanol fuel not only reduces the cost of regular gasoline, it's good for the environment and keeps money right here in the United States while supporting local rural jobs. Western Plains Energy, doing something for the future.
When you've had a best friend for over 50 years, you develop a trust. And the Scott Co-op has been a trusted rural friend since 1957. A co-op keeps money in the area, doing business for and with their members. And that helps keep their hometown thriving with keeping money in the community. Scott Co-op is not just an elevator. It's the rural way of doing business. So, when you see an elevator, remember your friends at Scott Co-op.
And our guest is Meis, a Nebraska farmer and chair of U.S. Farmers and Ranchers in Action, and just returned a few days ago from the UN Climate Change Conference known as COP26. And thanks for joining us, and maybe some of the takeaways of a Nebraska farmer, somebody production agriculture at this meeting.
Sure. Good to be with you, Ken. So yeah, climate change conferences in the past have mainly focused on energy and this reduction of emissions. We know that. But there seems to be a shift that I witnessed, that there's this now new focus on nature-based solutions. And so these nature-based solutions have focused on forests and natural lands. But we really need to understand that, and those are beginning to understand, those people who are really in decision-making roles are beginning to understand that it's time for millions of farmers who steward the land and the natural resources to have this voice in these climate discussions. After all, we are the eco workforce that's been entrusted to not only provide food, but leave this land better for next generations. So as the shifts in focus move toward land solutions, those of us who are closest to the soil absolutely have to be on the front line to help steer this movement.
I understand that you had quite a few almost sideline meetings, meeting folks from around the world that you could really focus in and tell your story and the story of American farmers.
That's right. Where you're really effective at a huge summit like this, where 20,000 people come, are to make connections and network before you even attend conference. So our CEO of U.S. Farmers and Ranchers was at the food pre-COP summit, the food summit in Rome in September. And I, as a voice of U.S. farmers, was actually in the opening session by a video at the UN. So we made those kind of impacts. Also, we've joined the World Business Council for Sustainable Development, where we're working the brands and the companies in the private sector who are trying to work their supply chain to be more sustainable. And they wanted to work with farmers and large farm organizations like U.S. Farmers and Ranchers to meet those sustainability goals that they have.
We're talking with Meis, a Nebraska farmer and chair of USFRA. And she recently was at the COP26 climate conference. We're going to take a quick break, come back and talk more about some of the efforts that USFRA is doing when it comes to this conversation. Stay with us.
The cost of everything has gone up dramatically over the last 75 years. With one exception: keeping electricity affordable.
Wheatland Electric, delivering energy for life, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
S&S Trailer Sales, with 2 locations in Ness City, Kansas, is where everybody goes to buy or rent trailers. They feature the all-new, all-aluminum Mauer grain trailer with all of the electric options, the easy-to-load detached trailers, and a huge stock of header trailers. At the west location, you'll find bumper poles, goosenecks, and oilfield specialty trailers, along with flat and utility beds for pickups. S&S Trailer Sales in Ness City and on the web, but remember, you do have to spell out the "and."
Ann Meis is the chair of the U.S. Farmers and Ranchers in Action. She's a farmer from Nebraska. And Ann, let's talk about activities of USFRA. And because of these words of sustainability, climate farming, climate smart practices are now gone beyond buzzwords to putting them in practice. And so USFRA seems to be one of those in the front to trying to lead this change.
Absolutely. That's right, Ken. USFRA believes that we can advance this movement of sustainability through a common framework. And we've established what we call a decade of ag. And so we're leading this movement called this Decade of Ag Vision, and it's been endorsed by over 50 leaders across the supply chain. And it gives agriculture a common vision to work toward. It's not necessarily specific goals, but it redefines who we are in agriculture from that viewpoint of industrial ag, and that animal agriculture is the problem, and uplifts us as the solution to help mitigate climate change by the way we manage our land using climate smart practices.
And with situations like this, I'm sure there'll be other conferences, other outreach, because I would guess there's not only an education component that's going to be needed on this, but a lot more conversations with all the many players.
Yes, all of that has to happen. And USFRA is working inroads to be the places that matter. Our CEO, Aaron Fitzgerald, led the session on food and ag on the last day, the plenary session on Nature Day. So there were 2 farmers on the panel, others interested in food. So those are the avenues that we're working where it really makes a difference. And the other is, in order for farmers to make these changes on their farm level that they're talking about, serious investment needs to happen. So USFRA is leading an effort to wrap the finance around how this is going to take place. It's called the Transformative Investment for Agriculture. We have major funders like Wells Fargo and United Soybean Board helping fund the transformative investment for agriculture.
Well, Ann, if folks want to learn more about maybe your experience as well as what's going on with USFRA, what's the website? What's the best way to reach out?
You bet. USFarmersandRanchers.org is our website, and we're on all the social media channels, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitter. Join the movement.
Well, Ann, we appreciate your time to spend, a volunteer farm leader representing agriculture on the global stage. So thank you so much, and we'll talk with you later.
Thanks, Ken.
Ann Meis, Nebraska Farmer, chair of the U.S. Farmers and Ranchers in Action. Stay with us. We'll have more in just a moment.
Wolfter Construction and Irrigation has been around a long time, and a lot of folks have trusted them to design, build, and service all sizes of commercial and on-farm storage for grain and equipment. Wolfter is also known for their outstanding irrigation division, where they stock a complete selection of nozzles, regulators, drops, gear drives, electrical, and structure components. Looking for an electric motor? Wolfter has a large selection in single and 3-phase. Next time, reach out to the pros who have decades of experience at taking care of business the right way. Wolfter Construction and Irrigation.
1030 KBUF has agriculture information for you every weekday morning, beginning at 6. Updates on the markets, agriculture news, weather, and interviews with top newsmakers to help you make better decisions on the farm and ranch. You can follow along on our social media page, friend us or follow us, and also listen to any Southwind radio station, and westernkansasnews.com. I'm Ken Rogers. Thanks for watching.